Hello to my flamazing artist and welcome to Art with Miss P this week. This week's lesson is going to be a multimedia lesson. That means we're going to combine more than one media. So we're going to draw, color, and collage. We're also going to tear some paper, which is going to be something new and different. We're going to design an egg, and then we're going to make our egg look like it's hatching by tearing the paper away from it to reveal what's inside the egg, which is going to be a dragon. And the only thing you're going to see of the dragon is the dragon's eye. So let me show you a couple of examples. Here's one example that I did right here. So I have my egg. I decided to do a fish scale pattern on my egg and color it some different colors. And then my egg is hatching right here, so it's tearing apart. And inside the egg is my dragon's eye. So there's my dragon's eye. Here's another example that I did. And this one is, I'll turn it this way so we can see the eye a little better. This one I did with concentric circles, kind of inspired by the artist Kandinsky. And then, of course, my egg is hatching, and then there's my dragon's eye. So we're going to need several materials for this project. You're going to need 2 sheets of white paper. 1 sheet of paper needs to be a big piece, a full-size piece like this. And then a smaller piece. This will be for the eye of your dragon. We don't need a full-size piece for that because your dragon's eye is not going to be that big. So 2 pieces of white paper, a full-size piece and a small piece. You're going to need your pencil, your Sharpie, your glue stick, a pair of scissors, and then whatever you want to glue your project down onto. I used black construction paper, but you can use whatever color construction paper you want. So gather those things up, friends. Meet me over in my studio and let's get started on our dragon egg project for this week. Hello friends, and welcome to Art with Miss P this week. This week's lesson is going to be a dragon's egg hatching with a dragon's eye on the inside. So you're going to need several art materials for this project. So you're going to need 2 sheets of white paper. You need 1 sheet of paper to be full size, and then just a small piece because your dragon's eye is not going to be big at all, so we can draw that on a small piece of white paper. Your pencil, your eraser, and your Sharpie. You are going to need a pair of scissors and a glue stick, and then of course if you want to glue your egg down onto a piece of construction paper at the end, choose whatever color construction paper you want. So let's gather those materials and let's get started on our dragon's eye. All right, the first thing you're going to need is your small piece of paper, so get that first. And we're going to draw the eye of our dragon. So right here is the eye of our dragon. You're not going to see the whole eye. If I were to continue to tear this paper and pull it back, you could still see a little bit more of the eye. So we're only going to draw a very small portion of the dragon's eye because that's all we need for this project. All right, so we're going to draw a football shape or a lemon shape. So we're going to start off with a frown and a smile like that right there. And then I want you to put a V in the middle of your eye. Now, this next part, let's go ahead and get your Sharpie because this next part you can do in Sharpie. You don't have to do in pencil, and I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So let's go ahead and Sharpie these lines right here. Now, before you Sharpie the V, here's what I want you to do. Color it in like I'm doing, but stay inside the V. Don't worry about having a perfect edge. It's okay if your dragon's eye has a little bit of a jagged edge like that. It'll add a little bit more interest to it. All right, so we need to now come around and put some details like this right here around the edge of our dragon's eye. You can see my little details right here. So here's your choices. You can do it in pencil. If you do it in pencil, don't draw tiny because you're going to go over it with Sharpie. So you don't want to make such small thin lines that your Sharpie will just bleed over. So you want to draw a little bit bigger if you're doing it in pencil. If you're confident enough to do this using a Sharpie, then just go ahead and do this in Sharpie. I'm going to do it in Sharpie, but we're just going to do bump lines like this right here on the outer edge of our dragon's eye. And I'm going to take this line and I'm going to extend it out like this right here. So I just took that top line and extended it out. I'm not going to put my bump lines out there yet. Turn it upside down and do the bottom. We're going to do either 2 or 3. I would suggest 3. It just depends on how big you draw. Rows of these. Now, if you're doing it in pencil first, just remember, don't do them so teeny tiny that when you go to Sharpie over your pencil lines, they're so small that this tip of the Sharpie is too big for it. If you're confident enough to go ahead and do these with the Sharpie, then by all means, do it with a Sharpie. I think you guys can do that. Now, my second line, I touched this little extra line right here. I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to start right here at this little extra line, and I'm going to continue to draw my bump lines. Carefully going around. Notice they're touching, meaning they look like they're overlapping each other. And then I'm going to do it a third time, and I'm going to come out here to that extra little line and do one more row. So we want 3 rows of these. So it looks like scales on your dragon. All right, now I'm going to draw a second one right here real quick to show you 2 examples, and I'm going to let you choose which example you want. So let me get this done really super quick. Okay, friends, so I did 2 dragon's eyes because I'm going to show you 2 different ways to finish this off, and then you're going to choose which way you want to do it. So we've got our eye, and then we've got our scales that are 3 rows deep. All right, so now draw a line. Now, don't do anything yet. I want you to look at both ways before you decide which way you're going to do. For this example, I'm going to draw a line with my Sharpie right here at the edge. And then I'm going to come around and I'm going to put a zigzag line right here so it looks like spikes all the way around my dragon's eye. And I'm going to turn my paper so they don't get going, they don't get a little wonky. So if you turn your paper, it helps you keep it straight a little bit better. So you can finish off your dragon's eye like this. Or here's your second choice. Still going to draw a line up here, but it's not going to touch this. We're going to draw a line above it like this, and a line down here like this. So it does not touch. And then we're going to come in and put in some straight lines like this, so it looks like your dragon's eye out on the outer edge has rectangles like this. Now, I don't care which way you do your dragon's eye. It's completely and totally up to you. Now you're going to choose 3 analogous colors. Now remember, analogous colors sit side by side on the color wheel. So let me grab my color wheel. Here's my color wheel right here. Analogous colors sit side by side. For my example right here, and for my example on this one, I did the same colors. I did yellow green, green, and blue green. So I used these 3 colors to color the iris of my dragon's eye. You can choose any 3 colors you want, but make sure they sit side by side. So you can do orange, and yellow. You could do red, violet, and purple. You could do blue, violet, and purple. Up to you. So choose your 3 colors. I think for this dragon's eye, I am going to do blue violet, which in my marker set is royal purple. I'm going to do blue, and then I'm going to do another shade of blue. I have this interesting blue right here. Now you might not have this blue. This is called battery charged blue. You may not have this blue in your set, and that's okay, but you can choose a blue green, which would be this color if you wanted to. But choose your 3 analogous colors, and like I said, it could be red, red, violet, and violet would be fine. That would be these 3 colors right here. Red, red, violet, and violet. So you make your choice, choose your 3 colors, and this is how we're going to color. Choose the lightest of your 3 colors first. I'm going to make it this one right here, and we're going to do the middle first. And when I say the middle, I'm talking about right here. You're going to take this marker, and I'm just going to draw a line right here and right here, so you can see what I'm talking about. You do not have to color inside the line. You can see I'm kind of coloring across right here, but it's got a little bit of a jagged edge. That is fine, because we want these colors to blend in. And I'm actually going to make it just a smidgen bigger. And I think I'm going to do 2 colors. So I'm going to do these 3 colors over here. Actually, I'm going to do pink. So I'm going to do pink in the middle on this one. So that way you can see 2 different examples right here. So I colored my lightest color across right there. All right, so for this one, I'm going to come back up with my purple. And I am going to, well, actually, this is my blue. I'll do purple on the bottom. So I'm going to color this in right here, blue, this top part. And I'm going to let my blue mix in with this blue. Then I'm going to get my purple, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to do purple. And it is okay if my 2 colors touch each other and even overlap, because analogous colors, they just kind of create another color. If they were complementary colors, it would turn kind of a muddy brown. All right, so there's my dragon's eye for this one. All right, for this one over here, I'm going to put purple on top right here, because I'm going to do purple, red, violet, or red, purple, and red. And instead of red, I used a pink right there. Because remember, if you add white to red, you get pink. So I'm using these 3 colors right here for this dragon's eye that I'm coloring. So they're still analogous. And you want analogous colors for the iris of this dragon's eye. Okay, so there's my 2 colors for my dragon's eye. Now out here, I'm going to choose completely different colors than here. You do not want this iris to blend in out here. So in this example right here, I used green, lime green, and blue green, but then I came with red, violet, violet, and pink for the outside. So I'm going to choose, these are warm, cool colors. I'm going to choose some warm colors. So I'm going to use this red, violet. I'm going to use, you know what, I'm going to use an orange. And I'm going to use I think I'll use these 3 colors right here, actually. This will be good. But I think I want to take out, I'm going to take this one out and change it to yellow. So I'm going to use these 3 colors. All right, so I'm going to take my orange, and I'm going to color my first row of scales orange. Now, you can use markers for this. You can use crayons. You can use color pencils. You decide what you want to do. Your choice. You can use a combination of marker and crayons. That way you get more choices in colors, and you get more contrast with lights and darks. Then I'm going to come back here with my yellow, and I'm going to color yellow along this second row of scales on my dragon. And my yellow is kind of blending in a little bit with my orange, so I'm getting a little bit of another color right there, and that is fine, fine, fine. And then I'm going to do my pink, will be this outer edge right here, the third row of scales. And then for my spikes, I'm going to choose a complete different color for my spikes. And I think I'm going to do a bright lime green, because I've got this really cool lime green color, and it'll look really, really good against this pink that I'm using. So here's my lime green color right here, and I'm going to color my spikes this lime green color. So I'm going to do that really quick and get this finished up, and I'll be back with you in just a sec. Okay, friends, so I have finished coloring my dragon's eye. So I am going to set my dragon's eye to the side. I'll come back to that in just a minute. Now we're going to get our white piece of paper, and we're going to take our pencil and we're going to draw a gigantic egg. So get that done. If you are confident enough that you can do it with a Sharpie, then go ahead and do it with a Sharpie. If you drew it in pencil first and then traced over it with your Sharpie, make sure you erase any pencil line that your Sharpie didn't cover, like I'm doing right here. Now, I am going to let you decide on what kind of pattern you want for your egg. Now, on this egg, I did a fish scale, and then I colored it 4 or 5 different colors. I've got like 3 different blues, 2 different greens, and I threw some yellow in. On this egg, I did concentric circles, kind of like the artist Kandinsky did. You decide what kind of pattern you want on your egg and get that done. So let's go ahead and get our patterns done, and I'll check back in with you in just a minute. Okay, friends, so I have finished coloring my egg. I just did some simple swirls and colored the background yellow, and I've got my dragon's eye. So here's what you do now. You're going to take your scissors and you're going to pick a spot somewhere on your egg for it to start hatching. On this example, I picked right here. On this example, I picked right here. So pick somewhere kind of close to the middle. Doesn't have to be exactly in the middle, but you don't want to pick something like right on the edge. And you're going to take your scissors, and I'm going to put mine right here. So I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to very carefully punch a hole like that right there. And I'm going to push those edges through. Now, I'm going to tear it carefully and slowly. I'm not tearing it quick, because if you tear it too quick or make it too big, it won't work. So I'm just carefully tearing it so it looks like it's cracking open. And you've got this eye that you're going to put back here. So you need to put your eye back here. We haven't glued it down yet. Just put your paper on top of it like this and start tearing away like I'm doing right here. Do a little bit at a time. You don't want to do it too much and then you tear too much away, because then you'll have a problem. You can even tear off some of the paper and just get rid of it if you want to, but start tearing it down and out away from the eye so that it exposes the eye like I'm doing right here. And you know my outer edge is that green, so I know once I get to that green, I probably need to stop tearing, because then I won't have enough eye to it. Okay, so it looks like I've got enough right there. So I'm going to position it, and then I am going to very carefully flip it over without moving it, get my glue stick, and I'm going to twist up the glue, and then I'm going to glue this down, like this right here. Now make sure you get it glued down enough where it does not come up. You do not want it lifting up and falling off. Because here's what it looks like. You got a tear in your paper right there. And we're going to put this patch over it. And the patch just so happens to be your dragon's eye. So now what you're going to do, friends, is pick up that paper like that so it looks like it's tearing out of your egg. So all you see is your dragon's eye, like that right there. And then you can take your scissors and you can cut your egg out if you want to. You don't have to, but it does look kind of nice when you glue it onto a piece of construction paper like I did here. You can use black. You can use a color that would complement. If I was going to glue this one down, I would choose purple because purple is the complementary color of yellow. Remember, complementary colors are across from each other on the color wheel. So I would glue this down probably on a yellow, purple piece of paper. So there is your dragon's egg and dragon's eye project. I hope you had fun doing this multimedia project. And until next time, friends, peace, love, and sparkles from Miss P.